have a design phase done on the park. The money is committed. We set up a meeting with Patrick and say, here's what we actually want. We appreciate your document, but here's the parameters, and let's go.
I might just really ask, Steve, do you have any, what's your?
The couple of things. One, I guess my question there would be, how solid is the funding commitment from others? Because I've talked to Mark a little bit, and he said, well, yeah, I've had a conversation, but he hasn't, and maybe you've had
I had a conversation since then.
Okay. Because what I understood from before was this issue of there's some funding committed, so the Waterfront Committee would be asked to fill that gap. And I think what we're trying to get is, what is that gap of funding? Right?
And we hadn't come up to that at the last time.
And because the Waterfront Committee's only got an allocation of funding that's capital, it has a very small operating budget, but a capital budget, which was really about the thing I described, the rest stops, right? And the last time with this discussion, we didn't know whether that was, what our budget would be for that, whether that was going to be, whether we'd be having to give up some of that work to fund this. And so the issue, what is that funding gap, and does the committee have the flexibility to reallocate some of that funding to be able to do this? I'm not sure we're still exactly there yet, just because I've only been back a couple of days, but it seems to me I have at least enough knowledge that we're in a better position to at least consider that we're not going to be giving up our other capital project to do this.
And we're still in the same place. We don't have the exact number yet. But again, it doesn't cost us any money to get clarification from Patrick. And I think that's, from my perspective, I go from the perspective, well, let's get the numbers hashed out before we have to try to find them, because it didn't cost us before. If I have to, or we have to go to a couple other committees and try to find a little more money here or there to fill a $5,000 or $8,000 gap, whatever that might be, when it's all said and done, I think we can probably do that.
Okay.
But until we hash it down and get what we want and get a number, that's the way I look at it.
Because where we were before.
We're close.
Yeah, where we were before was, okay, what's the funding gap, and are we going to have to give up part of our project to do this? And with the committee, how does the committee see the priorities to that? So I think the better we can get to that, we can then understand whether we've got the budget flexibility to say, yeah, let's go. If the answer to that was no, I guess my advice, and maybe speak to you, Mr. Mayor, is if this work is still very important and worth doing, then the next chance or opportunity the committee has to do that is make it part of its pitch of funding and request to council for 2015 budget, right? But that's going to delay this, right? So I think we need to get at that gap and understand the funding. And I guess the only other comment I have is just, the other groups that are involved may have some, how the city or the BIAs have an ability to be able to choose a consultant. We're part of a city committee, so we've got to obviously concern ourselves with the proper process in terms of purchasing. You can sole source work to others, and if it was maybe after hearing a presentation from EDA, if they say, you know what, we have the background and other things, it is sensible for us to do it, and the committee's convinced of that, we'd have to request that for council, just to say, are you comfortable to doing that? And maybe that is the right thing to do, by the way, I'm not saying it's not. We've just got to make sure we've got the process covered in terms of the software.
It is the second reason that it was sent out.
So, excuse me, if we had council's permission, we could sole source them?
I think we need to tell
Depending on
council.
the amount.
Yeah, depend on that.
But I guess in closing off my intervention, I would simply ask or suggest that before we deal with the timing issue, I think we've got to settle the budget issue. Know exactly what we have before we go by anything.
Okay, Glenn?
I was just going to suggest if we meet with Patrick and talk to him about what we mean by what, perhaps it may impact on his proposal. And up to and including the HST, we get that back, right, Steve?
Yeah.
So that's not a factor. I was just looking at disbursements, and that's a hidden in there. He's got 3,000, but potentially could be more than that. So So I think we sit down and talk to them, and let public consultation, get all the points clarified. And then we can, and I would suggest having Eric and a few other in the committee sit down and talk to them. We don't all have to get together and do it. We can put one or two people in subcommittee.
Are you
You don't have a
volunteering
problem.
for that?
No, actually, quite honestly, and I don't have to be part of it, I just simply want
Oh,
to
no,
get
you
this
initiated
design
this, I think
done.
it's a good.
I just think the opportunity is there, and I hate to leave it, and to tie it in with the other EDA, which is going ahead, it would just be a shame.
And I think we could also perhaps get them to include like Malay land, because it states here that the area is.
I kinda cheated, and I told them it's from the marina, but I meant the other
Yeah.
side of the marina.
So, Glenn, were you volunteering to be on a little subcommittee to meet with EDA?
No, I think I'm enough subcommittees right now, but I don't have time to,
Oh.
I wait up my wife. I
Um,
thought you were retired.
It's like you just told you there's water in the basement.
Well, the thing is that we need to have, if it's the decision of our committee to have a subcommittee to meet with EDA, and I really think that we do have to have some direct contact with them so that we understand better, and that we have to have some figures before we can go ahead. So, either they come and present to us at a regular meeting, or there is a subcommittee formed to meet with them.
If I may,
Yes.
again, I think we need to realize they will do whatever we tell them. So we need to back up and decide what we want, tell them that's what we want. They're not gonna present what we want, or what they think we need, they're only going to do what we tell them to do. So I think you have to have some kind of something to say, this is the parameters, here's the outcomes we're looking for, now sharpen your pencil and give us that. This is an initial, from a 5-minute conversation on the phone. We need to really sharpen that up and get the more succinct and specific.
So the question is what, just what do we want them to do?
The connectivity is one. I mean, Point Maling is another, how to connect Point Maling with the rest of the park and the tanks and all this stuff now. I think, the design, I think, where should we localize monuments and things like that that people want in the park when they come and ask us? So instead of scattering it across the park, you say, okay, yeah, it makes a destination, place to go. I think those are.
And as I mentioned in some of the report, which I did like, how the paths look, what is the best connectivity for the downtowns, how the design features are. I mean, we're looking, from my perspective, I would be looking for a design of the park to fulfill the master plan. And that's where I am looking at, that's what I'm looking at. What's the design look like? What's long-term as we have a waterfront committee, we have a master plan, but we don't have a design. So from my perspective, all we do is when something comes up, we kind of deal with it and we talk about it and like, well, let's do this, let's do that. If we agree on a design, most of that stuff's taken care of. Let's only look at the bigger picture. How do we implement the design? We should be, in my opinion, we should be looking at how do we implement the design, not let's wait for somebody to come with some kind of proposal and then let's deal with it then. And that seems to be what we've been doing for the last 3 years.
Well, in some cases, things have bypassed this committee with regards to location.
Which is even
things in
worse.
the park, which is even worse. Yes. Anyone else? Anyone else like to turn besides Glenn?
I give Glenn my
Can you
turn. You're next.
Yes, Glenn.
Go ahead.
No,
No.
No, I was thinking the consultation, we should talk about whether we need a consultation, because we've consulted a lot with our community, and do we need that? Because I think we've got through the official plan and other consultations about the waterfront, what our community wants. I don't know if we need a consultation, and I don't know what the cost of that would be, but then to prepare for all that is time consuming as well. If this committee believes we need a consultation with the community, I think we should say so, but personally, I don't. And it's a costly item. And we've already gone through a consultation, we're going to have another one on the 28th of
it would certainly cut down the cost of the proposal as well.
So it's part of the proposal that I don't think is necessary. I think, we speak to the community in this, and we already have the master plan, like I said, for the EDA center town. So personally, I think that if we can sit down with the subcommittee with Patrick, talk about what we want.
I agree.
Oh, I'm correcting my, the name, it is Patrick, right?
We've never corrected you publicly. Just behind your back.
I have to apologize in advance, I have to leave in a few minutes, and I notified the chair of that. And if you're trying to form a group, a few people to take this and basically rewrite it and focus on the most important things I'm going to do.
Oh, wonderful, thank
But I
you.
can't do it alone, because of the interpretation factor. I want to make sure that I have at least one or two other people with me. So my thoughts were to I was expecting primarily a document about connectivity, so I basically would take it and rewrite it, focusing on connectivity and de-emphasizing anything that talks about the master plan. Unless Patrick can show some concrete examples of where waterfront plan was developed or was aided considerably by having that level of detail.
Would you agree to design of the master plan? Conceptual design of the master plan? Again, the master plan is conceptual, but design does not exist.
Well,
Which I think is maybe the gray area here, at least from my perspective, is I really would love to have a design. Again, we're only talking about the park, we're not talking about the entire waterfront in this case. But what the master plan says, what the concepts are, but there's no design of what it looks like.
We do have a design for Point Lynn that we had consultants, I think, was presented.
Which I think
in the
we've
first
still
meeting.
never agreed on.
Pardon?
Which we've never agreed on yet.
No. But we have had a consultant to do designs for us.
Yes.
Whether
But in the master plan, is
The
there?
bottom line is, I'd gladly sit down with you and somebody else if they'd like to join us to look at that, and just to make it probably more point form and more concise. And I know that a lot of consultants are very articulate, so they tend to be semi-nebulous sometimes when they get into prose. But that's not my style. I'm very much point form, and I take out any gray areas. My job as a builder is to remove gray areas, and I would like to remove the gray areas and make it easy to follow for anybody to pick it up and say, oh, now I know exactly what they want to do. I just didn't get that feeling for this proposal. And it's no reflection on you, Eric, it's just a reflection on the traditional selling letters that they prepare, proposals. It's very much what a consultant would do, I would imagine. And I would just like to reword it to reflect how we feel and what we're looking for. And the main thing that I was looking for was all the connectivity issues. Because for years I thought that was an issue. And it's important to connect the most important assets with the different BIAs involved. So I'm just offering that.
How many people do you feel should be on the subcommittee?
We don't need that many.
Four?
At the most. Because I think that the report of that subcommittee would come here, and everybody then would get a chance to voice their.
I'm happy either to be on it or not. Again, it doesn't matter to me, I just want something to be done. So one, do we have any
The other volunteers?
volunteers? Can we get this done?
No, that was for a question.
You're too late.
Well, I think one of the
Anybody
things
else?
that we have to decide first is, are we going to go ahead to do this? As Glenn just mentioned, that it is a lot of work. We have one person who's willing to be on the subcommittee. We do have a plan, if we're looking, as Eric has clarified, for an implementation, a design and implementation of it in Waterfront Park area, then if that's what we decide to do, then we need a committee to move this up forward. If we're happy with the status quo, then we don't need a committee. And I think one of the things that we should agree upon is that we can't really do anything until we have figures and partnerships and dollars and on paper to do this. So the first thing that I'm interested in is the committee interested in going ahead to make give some direction to EDA with regards to this plan of implementation, of design and implementation in the park. So,
From a procedural perspective, we should talk about subcommittee first.
Well, if we don't decide to go ahead, then we don't need a subcommittee.
So then the subcommittee will decide whether we're going
Okay.
Okay.
Just one point, I have to make it the record, we cannot afford not to go ahead and piggyback on this in order to get the connectivity. I think I agree with Eric that it would be a big mistake if we let this go by. You can always put more park benches down the road, but you only get one shot at this, because it's a combined project with the work that's already being done. And it's important to have the homogeneity.
I'll make a motion that we
Have a strike a committee?
strike subcommittee.
Okay, seconded by Keith. Any further discussion with regards to creating this subcommittee? Discussion, Eric?